In 1949, the world stood on the edge of another global war. Europe was shattered, empires had collapsed, and a new superpower, the Soviet Union, was spreading its influence across Eastern Europe. Out of fear, tension, and the will to survive, a powerful alliance was born. This is the story of NATO and how it reshaped the Cold War. World War II left Europe in ruins. Cities were destroyed, economies were broken, millions were homeless. The United States and the Soviet Union had defeated Nazi Germany together, but now they were rivals. While America helped rebuild Western Europe through the Marshall Plan, the Soviet Union tightened its control over Eastern Europe. It installed communist governments in Poland, Hungary, East Germany, and beyond. Europe was now divided by what Winston Churchill famously called an Iron Curtain. On one side, democratic nations rebuilt with American aid. On the other, countries fell under the shadow of Soviet control. This division set the stage for a new kind of conflict, one fought not with open battles but with spies, propaganda, and the constant threat of nuclear war. Western nations lived in constant fear of a Soviet invasion. Stalin's Red Army was the largest in the world, with millions of soldiers stationed across Eastern Europe. For countries like France, Britain, and the smaller Benelux nations, the memory of Nazi occupation was still fresh. They knew they could not defend themselves alone against such overwhelming force. They needed protection. More than just money or supplies, they needed a military guarantee, and only one nation had the power to provide it: the United States. But would America, a country that had always avoided foreign entanglements, commit to defending Europe? The answer would change the course of history. On April 4, 1949, 12 nations gathered in Washington, D.C. to sign a historic agreement. It was called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO. Its promise, found in Article 5, was simple but powerful. An attack on one member would be treated as an attack on all. This principle of collective defense meant that if the Soviet Union attacked even one NATO country like West Germany or Norway, it would face the combined military power of the entire Western world, including the nuclear might of the United States. For the first time in history, America formally committed itself to defending Europe during peacetime. This was not just an alliance, it was a line in the sand. Moscow was furious. To the Soviet Union, NATO looked like an aggressive military threat aimed directly at them and their allies. They saw it as an American-led coalition designed to encircle and contain communism. In response, the Soviets created their own alliance in 1955, the Warsaw Pact. This pact united the communist countries of Eastern Europe under Soviet military command. The world was now officially split into two armed camps, each led by a nuclear-armed superpower. The Cold War, which had been a simmering ideological conflict, now had permanent military structures. The stage was set for decades of standoff, espionage, and proxy wars fought across the globe. Over the next few decades, NATO's power grew. New countries joined the alliance. West Germany was admitted in 1955, a move that deeply alarmed the Soviets. Later, Greece and Turkey joined, extending NATO's reach to the Mediterranean and the Middle East. The alliance built a massive military infrastructure, including airfields, naval bases, and nuclear defense systems, all across Western Europe. This formidable military presence made it clear any Soviet invasion of Western Europe would trigger a full-scale war, likely escalating to a nuclear exchange. This terrifying logic, known as mutually assured destruction, kept a fragile peace, but it also kept the entire world living in constant fear of annihilation. Even after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, ending the Cold War, NATO did not disappear. It evolved. Instead of facing a single enemy, the alliance adapted to new security challenges. It intervened in conflicts in the Balkans, led a long and difficult mission in Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks, and has recently taken a central role in responding to the war in Ukraine. An alliance born from the fear of Soviet expansion now shapes the future of global security in the 21st century. The Cold War may have ended, but the alliances it created still influence our world today. If you want to understand modern geopolitics, you must understand NATO. Subscribe for more hidden stories behind history's greatest conflicts. Thanks for watching.